Great to see another great crowd here today to hear about the progress being made out at the Hanford site. And thank you very much for the speakers that have agreed to come and present to us today. Once again, thanks to Gisa, Christina, and her crew there for sponsoring today's lunch. Thank you. And Lori, thanks for the update on the fair. Of course, you know, everybody says, oh, it's coming so quick. Well, I had to feed the kids lambs this morning because the kids are out of town, my kids' sheep. So I'm ready for it to get here. So I don't have to keep feeding the lambs. Anyway, so one of my other activities besides being chair of the chamber this year is I am Badger Mountain Kids 4-H Club leader. So come out to the sheep barn and look up Badger Mountain Kids 4-H and see us out there. So as I get my shameless plug in as well. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our sales director, Camille Robinson, who will introduce and present membership plaques to the chamber's newest members.
Today it's my pleasure to introduce our new members to the chamber. As I read your names, please come forward to be recognized, and please stand at the front until all names have been read. Trini Garibay with Elite Renovations. Daryl Francis with Columbia Basin Consulting Group. Cecilia Shan with Hope Co. Art Gallery. Mark White with WC Construction. Rochelle Chapman with Pheasant Hill Inn and Suites Hotel. Joanne and Terry Bone with Information on Hold. David Robison with Strategic Construction Management. Meredith Ferris with Waddell and Reed. Dwight Montgomery with Bella's Office Furniture. Brad Rue with Gale Rue Construction. Mike Bevelicqua with AT&T. Danielle and Megan La Riviera with Apple a Day. And Victoria Silver-Nail with the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. Might have to scoot in there. Please join me in welcoming these new members to the chamber. We'd also like to acknowledge our businesses who have continued their membership with the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce for over 20 years. Those businesses who have renewed their memberships last month are Perfection Pittsburgh Paint, Country Gentleman Restaurant and Catering, John's Auto Mart, E.A. Curtis Company, Hall Engineering Associates, Yakima Federal Savings and Loan, Central Premix Concrete Company, Electronic Systems Technology, Travel Leaders, Mueller Funeral Home, Clayton Ward Company, Kenneth Depew, Port of Kennewick, Bennett Rentals, and U.S. Bank. Thank you for your continued support. And if you know of a business that you would like to nominate for chamber membership, or if you're a guest interested in information on membership, please see me after the luncheon. Thank you.
Thanks, Camille, and thank you to the new members today. Now let's begin our program. Recovery Act progress at Hanford, accomplishments of the first year of stimulus funding. Our first speaker is the newly appointed manager of the DOE Richland Operations Office, Matt McCormick. Matt? Oh, actually, sorry, I was just supposed to pause for a second and for our cameras here. as I rearrange things here. Our next speaker is Tom Fletcher. Tom is the Federal Project Manager of the Office of River Protection Act. Tom? And we will after that, we will hear from Jane Hedges, who is the Manager of the Nuclear Waste Program of the Washington Department of Ecology. Jane? And finally, we'll hear from Dennis Falk, who is the Manager of the Environmental Protection Agency's Hanford Project. Welcome, Dennis. After they've made their presentations, we'll open up the program for questions from the audience. Our first speaker is Matt McCormick. First speaker was Matt McCormick, named manager of the Department of Energy's Richland Operations Office earlier this month. He is responsible for major environmental cleanup projects across the Hanford site that received more than $1 billion in funding this year, along with $1.6 billion in stimulus funding in 2009. McCormick has more than 20 years' experience as a nuclear project executive in the public sector. He was responsible for overhauling and refueling naval nuclear reactors, managing environment, safety, and health programs at DOE headquarters, and overseeing nuclear operations and cleanup projects at DOE's Savannah River and Rocky Flats site. He was named assistant manager for the Central Plateau at the Richland Operations Office in 2003 and was responsible for oversight of cleanup and closure activities in the central part of the Hanford site. McCormick has a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Montana State University. Go Bobcats. Help me welcome Matt McCormick.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you about the Hanford cleanup with my colleagues here, and focusing on the Recovery Act and the progress we've made at Hanford in terms of cleanup using Recovery Act dollars or stimulus. So you hear Recovery Act, stimulus, ARRA funds, and those are the funds that were provided through Congress to help stimulate the economy and provide jobs. So I'm going to focus a little bit on that aspects of Recovery Act, and then what we're doing with the taxpayers' dollars to clean up the Hanford site, better the environment, and reduce overall risk. So with that, in terms of just the funding priorities and the requirements of the Act was passed with focus on creating jobs and getting people to work, and we've done that here at Hanford. For Richland Operations Office alone, we got a check for $1.635 billion. There was a lot of requirements on that money in terms of how to spend it, reporting, accountability, and ensuring that the taxpayer gets value for those dollars. We did create jobs in terms of work that was ready to go. We had a lot of cleanup work that was in contracts that we got regulatory approval to do. So we were able to hit the ground running in terms of hiring folks, training those people, and then doing cleanup. And the EM, Environmental Management Program, under the Department of Energy is one of the few that has spent the most dollars over the last year or so. So the Department of Energy looks to the Environmental Management Program, especially sites at Hanford, as success stories in terms of getting jobs, getting people to work quickly, and value for the taxpayer. Again, there is a lot of bells and whistles. Some of the contractor folks here in the room understand all the reporting requirements and the audits that are being done almost on a monthly basis to ensure we account for the dollars spent, we know where they're going, and they're, again, adding value. Here's the money we received. Two major contracts in terms of Richland Operations Office, the Central Plateau Remediation Contractor, and then the Washington Closure Contractor. You can see they've spent almost $600 million in terms of cleanup, doing cleanup. Another important aspect of the Act is to get the money quickly to the people that actually do the work, so there's a lot of subcontracting going on that spreads the wealth in the community, and you could see the amount of money that was awarded to almost 500 companies just for the Plateau Remediation Company to do cleanup work on the site. In terms of jobs saved or jobs created, with the funds that we got for our appropriations from Congress in fiscal year 2009. So fiscal year goes from September of a year to October. We were going to have to lay off almost 300 folks in the spring of 2009 based on the appropriations we got from Congress. So with the Recovery Act being passed in late February of 2009, that avoided 300 layoffs on the Hanford site.